start with you. What is the secret to stopping Tom Brady?
Well, good morning, everybody. It's look, they tried to stop him initially by not running the system that he runs, but that's gotten a lot better.
Oh my God.
Over time. But I'd say that the main thing that you have to do is, and we talk about this with a lot of the great quarterbacks, if he knows, it goes. And what I mean by that is, if you give him pre-snap information, he's going to get the ball to the right place. So you've got to start with disguising your intentions and make sure that he's making his decisions after the snap. And that just doesn't affect him. It also affects the wide receivers because they have adjustments built into what they're doing. Say the second thing is pressure, and Kansas City did a good job last game of pressuring them, but it's not just the extra blitzers, but it's when you're rushing with four, making sure the pressure is coming internally, so he's got to move off the spot. He can't step up into the pocket. And I'd say the last thing is their ability to survive in some tight man-to-man coverage, especially on shorter yardage situations, so that he's not able to get those easy completions. Now, in doing that, you create some opportunities for big plays, but you've got to mix that in, and you've got to mix that in, especially situationally, if you don't want those long, sustained drives by him.
Yeah, no, that's great, Coach, and I'm glad you didn't lead with the pressure. Everybody's going to say pressure, pressure, pressure. I heard that all year from Nick, our colleague, our host on this show, one of our hosts on this show. Oh, pressure Tom, pressure Tom. Well, I mean, that's the secret to stopping any quarterback. If you hit the quarterback, you get pressure on them, you move him off the spot, it's going to be difficult for anybody to be successful. So when you look at Tom Brady, the real secret is catch the pick. He's going to give you an opportunity. He's shown to give people opportunity through 3 picks in the NFC Championship game. And Green Bay didn't capitalize off of it. They got 3 picks, Coach, but they only turned it into 6 points. So Tom Brady has to play a clean game. If he doesn't, then you need to come down with the ball and turn those interceptions, those turnovers into points, Nick. That's the only way. That is the secret. Please don't tell me about pressuring him and show me a chart and a graphic of what he looks like when he's getting hit, because you're going to have to show me the same thing 10 other quarterbacks.
Well, I'm not going to go there, but if I were to show you every other quarterback in the league, what you'd see is Brady's rating drops the 3rd most of every quarterback when pressured or not pressured. That's why it's such a big story. But that doesn't matter, because I'm not even going to mention that, because you're right. Everybody knows that. There are 3 things. The first one Brandon mentioned. He's going to throw you the ball. Coach Mangini once upon a time called Jimmy G a make-it-happen quarterback. Said he's going to make it happen for you or for the other team. Tom Brady this postseason been a make-it-happen quarterback. Almost threw a pick against Washington, should have thrown multiple picks against New Orleans, and the luck ran out when he threw 3 picks against Green Bay. So the first one is catch the ball, like Brandon said. The last clean Super Bowl Brady played in was the first Super Bowl he played in. So that's first point. Second point is this: make him drive the length of the field. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this is a fun stat, have scored 10 offensive touchdowns this postseason. 0 of them have come on drives of 75 yards or more. For some context, the Chiefs have scored 7 touchdowns this postseason. 6 of them have come on drives of 75 yards or more. They're not driving the length of the field. They are taking advantage of short fields. So make him drive the length of the field. And the third one, and this is, this is just somewhat luck, but I think there could be some finesse here. Be nice to the officials. Here is a real stat. They started tracking yards gained from pass interference penalties 12 years ago. I'll give you a guess. Which team shattered the all-time record for most yards gained by defensive pass interference? The 2020 Tampa Bay Bucs. What was the last play of importance of the last playoff game? A pass interference penalty. So listen, Chiefs, I don't know what you need to say to Carl Cheffers and his crew. Ask about the family, invite him to dinner, call him sir, whatever you need to do. But they're going to be just so anxious to throw one of those phantom DPI calls that turns a 12-yard overthrow into a 48-yard gain. So catch the pick, make him drive the field, and avoid the DPIs, and you should be in good shape,
Nice.
Wilds.
I like that. All right, Coach, I got a question for you about Ed Reed and Tyrann Mathieu. I saw an old video of Tom Brady, and on his wristband, it said, like, where's Ed Reed? Or, like, find Ed Reed, because every play he was somewhere else. Then I saw this Pro Football Focus article. It says Tyrann Mathieu doing the same thing. He lined up that slot corner for 400 snaps, box safety, free safety, defensive line, and wide corner for a few times. How can Tyrann Mathieu and where they put him mess up Brady? Or is Brady's like, this is Ed Reed 2.0. I can already figure this out?
Well, a couple things here. First of all, for Nick to put Tom Brady in the make something happen quarterback category is ridiculous. He makes Super Bowls happen. So you could put it in that category. In terms of Ed Reed was unique. He was incredible with his ball skills, his ability to return after he had interceptions, the way that he could get to different spots after disguising, being in the box and then getting the deep half of the field. And with Tyrann Mathieu, he's got some of those traits. I don't know if he's as explosive as Ed Reed was or as dangerous, but he does do a really good job of being able to serve a lot of roles and to do them successfully. With Tom, though, he's going to have gone back and looked at the indicators and tried to establish when Matthew's here, it means he's going to Y, and how much they can vary that up over this 2 weeks is going to be a big indicator as to whether or not they're going to be able to confuse Tom. Because if you give him what he's seen before, then you're dead.
Coach, I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful to the, godfather of your children, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady. But all I'm saying is, in Tom Brady's last 2 conference championship games and his last Super Bowl, he has more interceptions than touchdowns. In the conference championship game this year, he had 3. In the Super Bowl against the Rams, where they scored 13 points, he had 1 interception, no touchdowns. And in the conference championship game where they beat the Chiefs, he had 2 interceptions that counted, a third that should have, and 1 touchdown. So I'm just saying, I think, Jenna, the opportunities are going to be there, as Brandon mentioned, if L'Jarius Sneed or Tyrann Mathieu or whomever can just hold on to the football.
All right, well, then quickly before we break, Coach, I want to get your thoughts on this. So we had former Patriot Danny Amendola on the show on Monday, and he ruffled some feathers in New England when he told us this. Take a listen.
First things first, and when you see Patriot Way in the dictionary, it's going to have Tom Brady's name next to it. None of those coaches threw any passes. None of those coaches caught any passes. None of those coaches made any tackles. They got guys in the right position because they watch a lot of film and they spend all their time at the facility. But Tom Brady is the Patriot way, and that's the reason why Tom Brady's in the Super Bowl right now, and the Patriots aren't.
Coach, you don't appear amused as we watched you listening. You know the Patriot way better than any of us do. You agree with what Amendola had to say?
Look, when you show up to a dynasty 13 years in, I guess it's easy to identify what built that dynasty. I don't know how many Super Bowls in we were there at that point. And look, here's what I'll tell you about Tom Brady. When he showed up, he wasn't a lump of coal, but he was by no stretch a diamond. Okay, and there was a lot that went into his development, and there's a reason he was a 6th-round draft pick as well. And a guy at 43 is very different than a guy at 23, and it took a lot of his work, his natural ability, and the work of the coaching staff, and the work of the other players. What about Troy Brown? What about Troy Brown establishing that position that Danny Amendola eventually played, or the other guys, Teddy Bruschi, Willie McGinnis, Ty Law, Lawyer Malloy? Take your pick. Yeah. It goes on and on and on of guys who committed, who worked extremely hard. And I've said this about the Patriots over and over again. It's not for everybody. But when you can win that much over that long a period of time, it doesn't happen by accident. And maybe everybody being locked in a room watching film, maybe that's a positive thing. I don't know. Maybe the answers are a positive thing when you have a test.
So just to recap, you disagree with what Amendola had to say. Just making sure I got that. All right.
I thought it was
Bucs
good
trying to do something hardly